So good morning, everybody. Ingrid, this is Ingrid, as you know, and gosh, I see so many familiar faces. This is wonderful. I'm totally thrilled. Today is Sunday, March 13th, and you're here even though we had a time change. I was getting nervous that I know that's not the, different countries do this at different times. So I wasn't even sure if you recognize that. So I sent out an email. Call is being recorded, as you know. We're going to put this up online. So if you don't want to be recorded, if you don't want to be on record, just mute yourself. Don't speak up. Easy as that. Other than that, I'm here to support you and to help you. And I see quite a few familiar faces from last time, which is absolutely wonderful. And I see Rick is there as well from, where are you right now, Rick? In South Africa? Is that what you said?
Asia.
In Asia. Why do I think you're in South Africa? So for you, what time is it for you right now?
It's midnight.
Okay, so it's a good 12 hours. Great. So you will probably not last the entire time. I totally get that. And Kelly, you're from the UK, right?
Yeah, I am. It's 4 p.m. now.
4 p.m. for you. Okay, so you actually did not have the time change, right?
And no, we didn't know. I only remembered to come because of your email. So thank you.
That's great. So just really quickly, where's everybody else from? Because I'm not sure I know. Barb, where are you from?
Prince Edward Island, Canada.
All right. And Mary, where are you calling from?
Ohio, the United States.
From where?
Ohio.
From Ohio. Cool. And Teresa is here again. Teresa, where are you calling from? I'm not sure if she can.
Hello, from Washington, D.C., USA.
So we have, isn't this cool? This is so awesome. Donna, where are you calling from?
Tucson, Arizona, USA, and we don't change the time. So I'm all confused because everyone else is.
You know, I think you guys are off the record. I think you guys are getting it right. I mean, this is a very old law, and I absolutely don't see why I need to, why it needs to get dark early in the winter. It's already winter. I don't need darkness. But all righty, cool. So yeah, awesome. So we have two Donnas. So yeah. Donna Dennison, where are you calling from, Donna?
Donna McGurk from Natick, Mass, in the US.
Okay, so you are actually a neighbor. And then there's Lee. Lee, where are you calling from? And I know you're on the phone as far as I know, right? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, I put in the chat, I'm in New York City.
Very cool. I'm glad you made it. This is so cool. And Ellie, where are you calling from?
Close to Boston.
Close to Boston. Where close to Boston?
Somerville.
Oh, okay. Isn't that technically even Boston?
Well, some people like to distinguish.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I get that. So I'm, did we get everybody? Yes. I'm from New Hampshire, as you know. Accent is German. The attitude sometimes as well. Which means we say yes when we mean yes and no when we mean no. And that's, pretty much sums it up. So I noticed Americans like to say yes and yes, but everybody says, when somebody says yes, but I think they actually mean it. They don't mean no, which has caused all sorts of confusion. And I'm getting better at learning this. But so you're back. And we had a week to process. Some of you are new. Some feedback from last week. And then what are we working on today? So the topic in general that we have for this class is fear of being seen, fear of being judged, anything about going public. I mean, that's a broader theme. Sometimes, the underlying fears may be actually very different from that. Some of them may be specific events. Some of them may be just a general lifestyle of just being told to shut up, and or sometimes it's watching somebody being treated like that. You know, when somebody is a very domineering parent and watching domineer the rest of the family, that might shut you down too. It may be any kind of thing. What we will not be able to do here in this call is deep trauma work. So individual, deep, you know, one-on-one sessions. There's a place for that, and it's not in a group like this for here, but there's a lot we can do. I will certainly pull out all the stops that I can pull out. You guys know I'm a master trainer, have been for over 20 years. Those of you who are, let me just see a show of hands. How many of you are actually EFT practitioners? How many of you are with, and you are with AMET, with EFT International? Okay, so you can use this class actually for your continued education. Okay, so not as a mentoring class, even though I will make an offer to folks about that later as well. If you do, you know, continue with the program, you actually will get a free mentoring class from me, like full CPD class, which is really, really cool. But that's a different story. So what bothers you? What can I do for you? This is your time, and I'm here to serve you in any way that I can. And don't be shy to open up the mics and just let me know.
I'm willing to share.
Yeah.
I certified as a practitioner probably 4 years ago, and I was not in a big hurry to activate. I didn't seek any clients. I had other life issues going on, including some mental health issues. I take antidepressants, and they were at that time hurting more than they were helping, but it took me a while to figure it out. So now I am interested, and it was after I actually, Ingrid, that I came on your Zoom meeting with how to do the marketing and those things that got me energized again. And not only can I do this for income, which was always, even when I was in training, I thought, well, I can't charge for this. And actually my brother said those words directly to me. Who do you think you are charging for these services? And you know, you're not a PhD, you're not a counselor, you're not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, all of those kind of things. And I snapped back at him, well, I don't tell you how much you can make or charge, so what are you doing telling me? But anyway, that's a little thing. I think it was mostly just timing that I wasn't ready. But my main goal has been, I want to help, and I'm a healer, and I want to heal people, but I keep that little light of mine under a bushel that, you know, I don't tell people that I'm gifted. I don't tell people that I have tools that will help. Occasionally I do. There's a few people, and I have recently had people come back around to me saying, hey, remember that tapping you told me about? I've been doing it. And then they say, I found this thing on YouTube where there's exercise and they're tapping. And I was like, wow, send that to me. I need to see that. But I have not been prepared to start seeking clients, but now, since I talked to you, I've started upgrading my webpage that I've been paying for 4 years, but not utilizing. And I'm just more energized and more motivated. And I feel that there are so many people that I can help. I was troubled about my niche, or my niche, depends on where you're from on how we say that, because I felt I was more of a generalist. But recently, a friend of mine told me she's going through divorce, which I went through during the 4 years that I was not doing my business. And I realized I can really help women who are in this same situation. So grief and divorce is what I think my niche now is. That's all. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Can anybody else relate to what Mary just said? This feeling like you're this close, you're ready to get started. And hey, Hillary, it's just on us. Welcome. And just like, I'm so close, and yet there's this thing, right? It's kind of, you're too far to go back and not far enough to actually be in it. Have you signed up for the challenge, the 3-day challenge? Okay, this will answer your questions. This will show you your niche, where you need to be seen, how you need to be seen, how to present yourself. Those of you who have not signed up for that, it's a 3-day challenge that starts tomorrow. It's phenomenal. And literally, I'm going to send out the link again. There's no charge for that. But let me actually just really quickly, I'm just, let me actually make sure I have this online here. I do. Okay, I'm actually just going to do this really quick, and then because as far as publicity is concerned, as far as tapping is concerned, I can tell you all sorts of things, but as far as publicity is concerned, you guys should be working with the right people. Hold on a minute. Can I share this one? Yeah, I can share. I should share. If my daughter was here, she would be laughing at me. All right, let's share this. Okay, so really quickly, owning your expertise. You guys can see this? Okay, get clear on your message. No more common mistakes. Learn how to create your expert positioning statement. That's different from from your niche. This is really, how do you say what you do? Not what do you do, but how do you position it so that people get, she's not this, she's the other, right? The second day is this is something you guys need to have. You need to have your stories clear, right? They need to be totally relatable, understandable, straightforward. So when somebody says, well, tell me about it, you have this ready to go. You don't need to even think about it. They're essential elements of a story. This is really like a set of understanding that you guys really want to have. And also how you can leverage this, how you can turn one story into 6 stories, right? You will sometimes hear me tell the same story in different ways. And depending on who you talk to, whether you talk to your brother, or whether you talk to a potential client, or whether you talk to give a speech, that story is the same because people know you for it, but you will tell it in different ways. And that's super, super important. And then the last day is about who and where to pitch. So basically, who wants to hear you? Are you a podcast person? If so, what, right? Who needs to hear you? People who are going through grief, or people who are EFTers? Completely different folks, right? Or people who are, women who are caretakers, right? That could be a different story from, children who grew up without their parents, right? So you wanna really clarify this. And I can only tell you that the reason I'm putting this out there is because it's free and I know the quality of it, right? So there's no risk for you guys to take, but this is really something, I've done this, it's incredible. And there's a before and after, and there's even a pre-party that's already over. That's where you really learn to get into that, into that media mindset. I send out a link again about this because the reason I'm saying this is because there is a missing piece. This is not what we do here in class, but it is something you guys need to move forward. And again, it's free. You don't pay for that. If you want to upgrade, you can. I think it's $100 to upgrade and get other things, but I sent you the link. Don't worry about it. But I just needed to get this out of the way right now because there is only so much that we know. There are things we need to learn, right? We just need to know the steps. We need to know what people do in order to reach out. And everybody that does these things, right? And I can tell you this, once you are in the media, your brother will shut his mouth. Can you guys understand that? Once you say, well, CNN disagrees with you, it's like, oh, you would, seriously, I mean this, okay? So a part of claiming your expertise and just saying, I am somebody, is to have other people confirm that. Getting that article into a thing, having people quote you on podcasts. Whenever I speak, all of a sudden people start quoting my stuff and I don't even know why when it's happening, right? And I think the reason is because the stories are good. They relate to the stories. So these are things you need to just know, and it has nothing to do with EFT. And one of the things is a lot of EFTers, they want to skip that part. They say, but I'm so good at what I do, I don't need any of that. And that's why they're never seen, right? And very often the people that spend a lot of time reaching out, they may not be the best practitioners, but they're seen. So everybody goes to them, even if they're not as good as you. So think about that too. Okay. So I really just wanted to put this out there. Now, generally speaking, I want to help people, I want to heal people, I'm a healer, then you're ready. When you know that, you're ready. And how did this, what do you think would help you the most right now? Is this me? Is something feels gobbled? Oh, hold on. I don't know what this is. Mary, you're actually muted. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Gloria had background noise and she turned it off, or you turned it off.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not sure what I need. Confidence, I guess. I need, or you know what else would be helpful? And I do have a little bit of this, but it's not well organized, is a network of people at my same level, which might be all the people who showed up here today.
It does help to have peers, doesn't it?
Yes.
Here's another thing you need. You need to be able to look back and say, but I already did it.
Good point.
And sometimes that is, that's another thing I would like to encourage you guys to just think about. And I think I said this last time, you don't have to be comfortable, you just have to be comfortable enough, you know, and that means work within what you're comfortable with, maybe slightly out of your comfort zone. Don't jump in the deep end, but jump into something where you feel like, oh gosh, I'm ready. Let's see what happens. You know, I'm excited about this. So cool. We will work with this, you know, and I will work with what your brother said as well, and all these different things. Do you think the depression had something to do with this?
No, I have a long history of depression, and that is one thing that I'm having difficulty with, because I'm associated with so many people who are holistic and naturopathic, and they all want to say, change your diet, change your life, change this, change that. And I really think it's a chemical situation where medication is needed. It just needs to be the proper medication. So I feel like I'm bridging Eastern and Western thoughts, and I need to be comfortable with doing what I need to do for me, instead of being influenced by people who have changed their diet and have had success, but their situations are not the same as my situation.
Absolutely. So I'm hearing a lot of, you're not a PhD, and you know, Western world, Eastern world, how can you do this without experience? How can you gain experience without doing it? It's just, you know, it's kind of hard. All right, cool. Karate chop point, even though. Oh,
would you like me to mute?
No, I would like you to speak.
Okay.
And I just want to be very clear right now. I have no idea where we're going to go. I don't. Okay. So with 20 years of experience, I have no clue. The only thing I know is even though, and I say this for you guys to gain a little confidence that just even if things seem to start rolling well, that's great. And you will notice that I course correct. Okay. Watch for these things, because that's kind of what you do. You go, you see where things go, and if you're helping or not, right? And if you're not helping, then you just go back. You know, Gary always said, open the door, go in and out, see where you need to go, and move on from there. That's also why I, in my practice, oftentimes do several rounds, right? Just to see how this unfolds and how it all comes together. So karate chop line. So even though, here I am. And I'm very fortunate. My brother knows it all.
My brother knows it all.
My brother knows what PhDs know.
My brother knows what PhDs know.
He knows all about what you need to do to really help somebody.
He knows all about what you really need to do to have somebody.
And the most important thing is a title.
And the most important thing is a title.
If you have a title, you can help people.
If you have a title, you can help people.
No title, no helping.
No title, no helping.
Hands down, that's how it is.
That's it.
Those are the rules.
Those are the rules.
Who do you think you are? You don't have a title.
Who do you think you are? You don't have a title. And
don't you dare help
millions of dollars.
Yeah, and don't you dare helping people.
And don't you dare helping people. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? You don't have a title.
Who do you think you are? You don't have a title.
It doesn't matter that you can help people, just don't help.
It doesn't matter that you can help people, just don't help.
Just don't help them. You don't have a title.
Just don't help them. You don't have a title, you're not qualified.
You are not qualified.
You're not.
You're not qualified to help,
You're not qualified to help,
but I'm qualified to make a judgment on you
but I'm qualified to make a judgment on you.
because I know all about the PhDs in the healing field.
I know all about the PhDs in the healing field.
So I'm qualified to tell you to not help somebody.
So I'm qualified to tell you to not help somebody.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
Oh, shut up.
I love you, but I don't respect what you just said.
I love you, but I don't respect what you've just said.
You come on my level and we're having a conversation.
You come to my level when we're having the conversation.
You're not in my field.
You're not in my field.
So don't make a judgment about things you don't understand.
So don't make a judgment about things you don't understand.
But I love you anyways.
But I love you anyways.
And I allow myself to start gaining the confidence that I need.
And I allow myself to start gaining the confidence that I need.
And even though for so many years,
And even though for so many years,
I've been stuck between Eastern and Western world,
I've been stuck between the Eastern and Western world,
and I know they both have their place,
and I know they both have their place,
and they both have places where we shouldn't go.
and they both have places where we shouldn't go.
And I actually know the difference,
And I actually know the difference,
which is why I can say with confidence that EFT works,
which is why I can say with confidence that EFT works,
because it does.
because it does.
And we have 175 peer-reviewed research studies to prove it.
We have 175 peer-reviewed research studies to prove it.
And that none of those required a PhD.
And none of those required a PhD, but some of them probably had them.
Some had them, some didn't. So interestingly enough,
So interestingly enough,
it's a field that's wide open for anybody who's good at it.
it's a field that is wide open for anyone who is good at it.
We don't exclude the PhDs,
We don't exclude the PhDs,
and we don't exclude the moms.
and we don't exclude the moms.
We don't exclude school teachers and children.
We don't exclude school teachers and children.
We don't exclude veterans.
We don't exclude veterans.
It's really that kind of a tool,
It is really that kind of a tool,
but only those who are healers at heart,
but only for those who are healers at heart.
they end up using it for others.
They end up using it for others.
So there is a little caveat there.
So there is a little caveat there.
Only if you have that burning desire to use it,
Only if you have the burning desire to use it,
you will use it.
you will use it.
And damn it, I'm tired of shutting up.
Damn it, I'm tired of shutting up.
But I have this conflict
But I have this conflict
because my brother knows it all.
because my brother knows it all.
He told me no PhD, no helping.
He told me no PhD, no helping.
And he doesn't even know what the heck I do.
He doesn't even know what the heck I do.
So who is he?
So who is he?
He's always like that.
Oh, he's always like that.
Oh, I wish he was more supportive
I wish he was more supportive
because I need supportive people around me.
because I need supportive people around me.
I need my own crowd.
I need my own crowd.
I need people I trust.
I need people I trust.
I need people I love.
I need people I love.
I need people where I can let my guard down without being told I don't have a PhD.
I need people where I can let my guard down without being told I don't have a PhD.
Because I don't need a PhD for this.
Because I don't need a PhD for this.
There isn't even a PhD for this.
There isn't even a PhD for this.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It's not psychology, it's energy work.
It's not psychology, it's energy work.
Energy work.
Energy work.
So what am I going to do now?
So what am I going to do now?
Wait until I get a PhD?
Wait until I get a PhD?
That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I so badly just want to be ready.
And I so badly just want to be ready.
I just want to be ready.
I just want to be ready.
I just want to start helping people
I just want to start helping people
and prove to myself and them that I can do it.
and prove to myself and them that I can do it.
And I want to learn as much as I can
And I want to learn as much as I can
about them and their problems
about them and their problems
and the tools that I can use for them.
and the tools that I can use for them.
Of course I do,
Of course I do.
but that doesn't mean I need to go back to college
But it doesn't mean I need to go back to college
because they're not teaching me what I need to learn.
because they're not teaching me what I need to learn.
And I'm already ready now.
And I'm already ready now. I just need to accept it.
I just need to do it even if I don't accept it.
I just need to do it, even if I don't accept it.
It is hard to accept that I'm good at something if I've never done it.
It is hard to accept that I'm good at something if I've never done it.
Sometimes I have to have proof first.
Sometimes I have to have proof first.
And before I have proof, I just need courage
And before I have proof, I just need courage
and kindness
and kindness
and gentleness
and gentleness
and compassion
and compassion
and the willingness to never ever hurt somebody,
and the willingness to never ever hurt somebody,
to gently support them,
to gently support them,
to not take them over,
to not take them over,
but to walk with them,
but to walk with them,
support them in the way they need.
support them in the way they need.
And last time I checked,
And last time I checked,
most PhDs don't even have the time for that.
most PhDs don't even have the time for that.
Deep breath.
Thank you very much.
Close your eyes for a minute and just check in with yourself. And just check in what kind of thoughts are coming up for you.
This is all true. Everything you said is true. And if not
So-
now, when? So just do it.
You
And
know, work,
So many
work with
people
people.
need it.
And the more specific you are, the more humble you get. Not intimidated, but humble, as in, you know, it's a privilege to help somebody. The easier it will be. I think, in my experience, the practitioners I like the least are the ones that jump at somebody and say, oh my God, let's go tap on that and fix that. I would never work with somebody who does that. I would never work with somebody who does that because it's really entitled, right? It's like, I got all your answers and I know everything. And I know that you're broken. I fix it because I have this tool and now we're going to go all over the place. And that's very weird, to say the least, right? That's just not what you do. But when you just say, hey, I think I get it. Let's see where this goes. And you tell me, and you work with somebody and it just goes in and out. And you start to craft this together. And they can tell you that with trust that, you know, something comes up or this is not right for me. Then you just go together. And with EFT, I mean, the data shows that it's actually the tapping that makes the difference, right? The words have power, but the words without tapping have less power. That's what the data shows. So that's really, really important to know because we're always looking for shortcuts, but it's not talk therapy. The difference really starts when you add the tapping to it. So that's a mindset for a beginner who is not willing to let people suffer just because she feels insecure. Make sense? Yeah. And that's how you find your first people. I heard another thing in there. A quick feedback from the group, if that's, if you would. Anybody else could relate to what Mary just said. And just unmute yourself. And just want to welcome Nell over there. Gloria is here.
Hello.
Hillary is here. Hey. So
And
what
I have a brother who's a know-it-all as well. And he's a psychologist
ouch. Okay.
without a PhD. But he's finally, for some reason, he has come around And he doesn't comment anymore on how ridiculous EFT is. So, but I still like the tapping. Thanks.
Okay, very cool. Who else would like to say something? That's Michelle. Hey, Michelle, nice to see you. Could you guys relate to this?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. It was, oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely was what I was going to say today, because I met a psychotherapist yesterday and I still don't even really know what they are, but she had this whole list of qualifications when I looked at her website, and I did instantly go, oh. And you know, I had a great day yesterday, so I was on a high and it kicked me, but I thought, no, I need to work through this. Obviously it's there, need to work through it. But what I'm realizing, the more counselors I meet and psychotherapists and these kind of people, when you start to read what they're doing, they're now doing EMDR. And you're like, oh, so what you were doing wasn't enough. You now need to learn something else. And there are some that one actually said to me, oh, I used to think EFT was absolutely ridiculous until I actually did it. And she goes, now I really believe in it. And I think, you're forever learning other things. So they know that there's something else in it. And one was actually going to do sound therapy. And I thought, that's a real contrast to these other kinds, isn't it? So, yeah.
You know, I give you a few keywords. Well, the data shows okay, done. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, we have 175 peer-reviewed, published research studies, which show, okay, these are keywords they're looking for. Remember, a lot of your professional peers who work in a different field, they are looking for ways to, you know, like a common ground, like a reference kind of thing, right? So once you can say, well, actually the data disagrees with you, use that word, right? The studies we've conducted, and we've conducted over 175 peer-reviewed research studies. Peer-reviewed is a very rigorous process, and publishing a study is a nightmare. I've been involved in a few. It takes a lot, right? So, and the peers are not EFTers. The peers are usually people in the field that don't do what you do, right? So use these things. Also, it's very clear you're not doing therapy. But one thing that this is so different. Where we're going here is so different. I love this in a way. This is cool. So where was I going to go? No, I forgot my train of thought. Let me, what was the sentence before I lost my train of thought?
I am not doing therapy.
Yeah, I mean, therapy is one way to help somebody who's suffering, but it's not the way. You know, one of the things I tell folks in my field sometimes, if they're really going to get under my skin, is PTSD is considered treatment resistant, but that's only for what they do. And our data shows it's not treatment resistant to EFT at all, right? It actually works. It works like a charm, which is why the VA has now actually accepted it as a safe technique, and which is why the APA give them that word as well. The APA has accepted EFT. Okay, they give CEs for that, is my understanding, which means that it is a technique on a high level that does not require a college degree, right? Have some confidence. And for you to really work on your level and get as many good results with food cravings, with whatever it may be, you know, the small t trauma first, so that you really just get results and routine. This is the way to go. And as you do this more often, you know, you gain the confidence, you get bigger cases, and you know, your price points and stuff like that, that is also a question. hands down. It does make sense, especially when you start, to not worry about it. Because for a number of reasons. Number one, you're really just starting. Okay, and I must have done, I don't know, 100 free classes before I started charging. That doesn't mean you will, but it means it gave me the freedom to just help. Right? I did not want to be attached to, we're having a contract here and we signed something up and we did this and that and the other. I just wanted to help. I wanted to get the experience. I wanted to do as many things as I could. And charging for this also was a part of that at some point, for sure. Maybe it wasn't 100, maybe it was less than that. But just the thing is, sometimes we think that people only take us seriously when they pay us. And I think that is true. But at the same time, right now, you need to get your story straight. Right? And if it holds you back to think, is somebody going to pay me for that? And for that reason, you're not starting to reach out. Right? That's not helping you. Does that make sense dynamically? I'm not discouraging anybody from charging, get me right. Okay. Really, it's just if the charging part is holding you back from doing your work, then first things first, second things after. Right? Don't let this get in your way in a way that it blocks you. Right? There is a time, and there will be a time at which you say, look, I'm spending my life doing this and I can't financially afford that. Right? How am I supposed to devote my life to helping people if I go under? Right? If you're ready to charge and you do your thing, go for it. Right? I'm not one of those people to tell you not to. I just want to encourage you to get started, get the ball rolling. Does that make sense, Mary? Okay. And you will know after your first 10 clients, you will not be where you are today. Does that make sense? Okay. So don't wait. Okay, cool. I hope this was helpful. Kelly, was there a question in there as well? Just an observation? Okay. So peer reviewed, the data shows peer reviewed, right? That's, what are they going to say? You know, oh, you can actually say, well, there's a study from Harvard that actually shows that there is, and it was actually on the impact of EFT on your genetic pool, and we show that 73 genes. The Harvard study showed that 73 genes actually were up or down regulated. Just throw this in their face, right, and just leave it there. Okay, because that's what they need to know and understand. A part of that is because they need to feel safe when they talk to you. They don't want to talk woo-woo. They can lose their license if they do, right? It's really, this is important to remember that. All right, so this is not EFT, but I thought this needs to get out there. Mary, I hope this was helpful. So just to repeat, I'm not discouraging anybody from charging. I just don't want it to be in the way to get started. Make sense? Okay, cool. Barb, you had another, Barb Diamond, you also had a question or a comment or a thing you would like to tap on?
Not so much. I've tapped on it before, but it was just a comment that my brother, who has really not been in my life for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. When I told him I was doing EFT, he said, you got to clear your own crap first. So
you got to what?
You have to clear your own crap first, like your own stuff first.
Okay.
Even though he has no idea where I stand in my life or anything, really anything about me, he felt it necessary to say that. And he was a dentist. He's retired now, but he was a dentist.
And dentists know that, right?
Yeah, he's quite knowledgeable, apparently.
Okay. And so as a dentist, if you have bad teeth, you can't practice?
I guess not.
Okay. What if you're missing it? What if you didn't get your cleaning? Do you need to shut down your practice to be until you had your cleaning?
I guess
just
so.
checking, you know, I mean, there's no two rules here. It's one rule or not. Okay. Okay. Remember, EFT is a service. It's not about you, right? And if you're a bad swimmer who goes in a bad way out into a violent ocean and you know, backpedals her way with a person in track all the way to the shore, you saved somebody's life. If you're sitting on the side of the shore saying, oh, a person's drowning, I should have worked my backstroke. You know, damn, I have to You know, I need to get that crawl stroke in, because that would make me so much faster to get out there and the person's going under. Right? I mean, and that's why I also said this, Mary, what I realized when I was starting was my sessions took so much longer. They were, you know, they were 2-3 hour sessions for smaller things. You know, I still do 90-minute sessions because I don't like short sessions, but they took longer because I didn't know. And I wanted to have that time with the client, you know, and I wanted to make sure we have time to finish. So you set this up in your own way. When I started working with veterans, I took a full morning off, right? Because I had no idea where this was going to go. And I just knew that I had to create a safe environment, right? Now I don't need to do this necessarily. And it still depends, you know, I mean, there's things that may take longer, and that's just how it is. So set it up so it works for you, but don't let these doubts stop you from doing your work and reaching out. And I can tell you that once you start being in the media, all these brothers, they will show up. Okay, karate chop on it. Even though my brother said, all right, can you unmute yourself, Bob?
Sure.
Excellent. Even though my brother said,
You
have to clear your own crap first.
You have to clear your own crap first.
And he's a dentist, he knows.
He's a dentist, he knows.
He knows all about me.
He knows all about me.
He's the one person in the world who knows everything about me.
He's the one person in the world who knows everything about me.
He can read my mind.
He can read my mind. No,
he
he
can
can't
look
read
into my
it.
soul.
He can look into my soul.
He knows I have crap that is not allowing me to even reach out and help people.
He knows that I have crap that is not allowing me to reach out and help.
Am I blessed to have a brother who's a dentist?
I'm blessed to have that brother who's a dentist.
Who really warned me from making a big mistake.
Who really warned me from making a big mistake.
You have to clear your own crap first.
You have to clear your own crap first.
Just like a cleaning lady, she can't leave the house to help somebody before her own house is clean.
Just like a cleaning lady, she can't leave the house until the whole house is clean.
That's just the rule.
That's just the rule.
If there's something wrong with you, you don't even dare helping somebody.
There's something wrong and you don't even dare to help somebody. Nope.
They will find out.
They will find out.
Because most people only want to work with perfect people.
Most people only want to work with perfect people.
People who never had a problem.
People who never had a problem.
People who spent their entire life just thinking about themselves.
People who spent their entire life just thinking about themselves.
Just wondering what else is wrong with them.
Just wondering what else is wrong with them.
Never saying the hell what else, how can I serve?
Never saying, how can I serve?
Because I need to be all about myself today.
Because I need to be all about myself.
I'm not glad my brother's a dentist.
I'm so glad my brother's a dentist.
I know.
He's actually provided me a lot to work on.
And even though the same rule is for hairstylists.
And even though this, sorry, what was the last part?
The same rule is for hairstylists.
And the same rule for hairstylists.
Yeah, if you haven't done your hair, don't cut somebody else's.
You haven't done your hair, don't cut somebody else's.
How dare you cut somebody's hair? Did you not see you didn't brush yours?
How dare you cut somebody's hair? Did you not see yours?
What are we thinking?
What are we thinking?
And why are we thinking this?
And why are we thinking this?
Who defines perfection?
Who defines perfection?
And on top of that, chances are that the areas where I can help somebody with,
have
very little to do with crap I need to clean up.
Have very little to do with crap that I need to clear.
But with things I learned because of my crap.
From things I've learned because of my crap.
If I didn't have my crap, I wouldn't even know what they're talking about.
If I didn't have my crap, I wouldn't even know what they were talking about.
And I'm so grateful for EFT.
I am so grateful for EFT.
Because it allows me to support them.
It allows me to support them.
With insight and compassion.
With insight and compassion.
And I deeply and completely accept that fact.
And I deeply and completely accept that.
Gosh, you have to clear your own crap first.
You have to clear your own crap first.
Says my brother, the dentist.
Says my brother, the dentist.
And he should know.
He should know.
Because he knows all about me.
Because he knows all about me.
And he knows how EFT works too.
He knows how EFT works too.
He's an expert.
He's an expert.
He's just trying to protect me.
He's just trying to protect me,
Or whatever his thoughts are.
or whatever his thoughts are.
I'm actually not even sure why he's saying that.
I have no idea why he's even saying that.
It's actually a curious question.
That is a curious question.
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that?
Because it's clearly not helping.
Because it's clearly not helping.
It's clearly quite intimidating.
It's clearly quite intimidating.
Rude would be another word.
Rude would be another word.
So why exactly are you saying this?
So why exactly are you saying this?
You don't even know who I work with.
Don't even know who I work with.
Is your intention to hurt my feelings?
Is your intention to hurt my feelings?
And why would that be?
And why would that be?
Maybe you don't want it, but you're doing it.
Maybe you don't want to do that, but you're doing it.
And I wonder why you would do that.
And I wonder why you would do that.
Talking about crap
Talking about crap
that needs to be cleaned up.
that needs to be cleaned up.
Instead of supporting somebody in growing,
Instead of supporting somebody and growing.
your go-to is to drag me down.
Your go-to is to drag me down.
What an interesting way to live one's life.
What an interesting way to live one's life.
Would you like me to help you with that?
Would you like me to help you with that?
Deep breath.
That was very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else could relate to this? You know, there's power in reframe and there's power in humor. And when it fits, it fits. And certain things are certainly, teaching moment. But you guys are EFTers, so it's fun to talk to your own crowd, you know. I have a little background in this. You know, there's a place for this. There's a place in exaggeration for exaggeration. There's a place for a total, like a 180 reframe. That's not what you do when you do deep trauma work, obviously. Then you just stick to your rules and you stick to your basics because you have no clue where that client's going, right? And you're not reframing. You don't even know what's going to happen next. So stick to your basics and know your tools as good as you possibly can. But there's a place for this. This is ridiculous. You know, I mean, seriously, yeah, I relate to it, by the way. My mom, after over 20 years, still asks why am I not a goldsmith?
A goldsmith.
Yeah. So that's how that goes. She also doesn't understand why I'm on the radio. So, you know, you explain it, and then next time she asks again. And then that's okay. Yeah, Mary.
Two things. I think Gloria is on the call twice, and one of hers is giving you feedback on your recording. She might be on your second screen. There you go. And then the second one, is your family in jewelry and goldsmithing?
No, I'm a goldsmith. I'm a certified goldsmith. That was my first career of 7.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's fascinating. Thank you.
That's why you will never see me without jewelry. I just refuse to leave the house like that. You know, it's not an extra. I feel like I wear no shoes without jewelry. And jewelry is a must. It's a rule in my house. My daughter is not allowed to leave the house without it. You know, you joke about it, but it's just fun, you know, and it's one of those things that are personal in a very interesting way, because everybody can wear jewelry. Absolutely everybody can. And it's a totally different story. But yes, I love that stuff. It just makes me happy. It's my happy moment. So what's next? What are we going to do? What would you like to work on? Lee, Hillary, Teresa, Michelle, Gloria, Ali. Everybody's invited, obviously. I just know that I have not talked to you guys. So just Nell, obviously. I mean, you're all invited to just open the mic and say something, and we're going to tap. You see that what you say with these kind of classes, I never know which direction they will go, right? This is starting a completely different direction as last time, and I'm totally fine with that, right? I want to support you in where you are at. So whatever you have to say is helpful for somebody else, and don't ever think it's not. Okay. Yeah, Hillary, just open the mic and let me know.
Hi, well, it's lovely to see a different crowd of people. I'm here in South Africa, and I'm just curious, even though sort of I've done my advanced certification and I've seen clients, there's still that fear that like that I'm a bit of a fraud. Like after all these years of practicing EFT, like there's still that fear that like, you know, like what I'm doing is not helpful enough. And it's so not true, but it's like, it's almost like it's ingrained in my brain that after all these years, like I'm not going to be able to help. I'm not going to be able to find the right words, that I'm, you know, this imposter syndrome. And I think like it's the testimonials that I'm getting and the people that I'm seeing, like that's not what they're saying at the end of the day, but it's just this, insecurity that like, just like, where do I go with that?
Totally. Thank you for stepping up and welcome to South Africa. I love this. You know, you guys are there's just no borders for us. We just show up and do our thing. Anybody else can relate to that? It's feeling like I'm a little bit of a fraud. Okay, see, you all feel this way, right? And let me just ask, let's turn this up for a minute. When New Hampshire over here, we just had a snowstorm and heat was going too high. Let me ask, did you ever have proof that you're an imposter? Did you have a session where you just say, you know what, I'm just such a fool?
There was a session where I felt like I'd gone too deep too quickly with a person and I never heard from them again.
Anybody else ever had a bad session? Okay, welcome to the club. It happens. Sometimes we're out of our field and sometimes the client isn't right. And very quickly, actually, the little other coaching moment here, just to support you in gaining that confidence. I had just very recently, I had a client who gave me a totally happy face on Zoom with the most horrendous stories. And I was so distracted that I said, I can't see you when we work. You have to get on phone. I need to hear you, and your face is not matching what you say, right? I couldn't relate to that. And I was so struggling. And I was finally taking the courage to say, you know what, something here and the energy is completely off. Can we try the phone? And at that moment, it just started to roll. So just have the courage to kind of explore with your client in an honest way what it might be, instead of saying, I'm not good enough, or dropping the client, right? If the client doesn't like you or you don't like the client, especially if you don't like the client, don't work with the client. You know, it's your life and you spend it with somebody you don't like. But if you feel like there's something weird, you always have the right, and actually I think the responsibility, to go back and say, wait a minute, my feelings were going too quickly, but what do you think? You know, I want to make sure we're not missing anything here. I want to make sure that we're doing this. Is this what you need right now? Are we brushing over things? Tell me, right? So ask your client. Does that make sense? Okay. And you know, if something doesn't go right, that's okay. It happens. Just refer out or check in with them later and say, hey, you know, I just wanted to check in and make sure you're okay. And if they say they didn't like the session, then that's that, you know, that happens. Okay. So you had one example. How many years are you in business?
Maybe. How
many?
I think about 5, maybe.
So you're in business for 5 years and you had a bad session, you shouldn't be working. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah. So talk to me. Where does this feeling of I'm not good enough, I'm a bit of a fraud. Now, there's actually a difference between not good enough and being a fraud. Where is that difference for you?
It's crazy, but I think like feeling not good enough feels like in all areas.
Okay.
And the feeling that I'm a fraud is, I don't know, I guess when I compare myself to other people, which I try not to, but it's like I look at these EFT practitioners that are having like charging a fortune and been in practice for so many years, and like they just know exactly what to say at the right time. And the truth is, like, when push comes to shove, I guess I do know what to say because I just go with my intuition and my gut. But it just, I don't know, just something just doesn't sit right.
Okay. So I'm guilty on all levels of what you just said. And what was the first thing I said when Mary and I worked together? I said, I don't have a clue where we're going to go. And I don't need to because it comes from Mary. Right? I don't know if I go with my intuition. I actually don't even think that. I think it's part of it is experience, part of that is compassion, and the majority of it comes from your client. You don't need to know what to say your client does. Right? If you give your client the words back exactly in what they tell you, you are exactly, you're healing, right? I'm taking pages of notes when you guys are speaking. So just to make this really clear, right? Not being good enough usually is the only people who are not really good at the people who don't listen. The people who have an agenda. The people who say, I know how to work with PTSD. Well, you don't even know what I'm dealing with right now, you know? So that's why I wanted to ask you, where is for you the difference between feeling like a fraud, and feeling you're not good enough? Because we need to separate the two and then we can get started working. Okay, so talk to me again. You feel like a fraud. So you feel like other people are better than you.
Yeah.
Other EFTers are better than you. Do you know they are?
I think like other
just charge more?
Sorry, I missed that.
Do you know they are, or do they just charge more and they're better known?
Yeah, probably the second one. They're better known.
Better known is the media piece I'm talking about, you guys. They just know how to be known. Their fee goes up, their reputation goes up, their confidence goes up. They have more people wanting to work with them. They get invited more. The more you guys are known, the easier it becomes to do your work. Right? And that's all free. That's why I'm just going to keep churning that. If you want to be the best kept secret, then nobody will see you for what you can do. They compare you to people they know, right? I've seen this oftentimes when somebody has an idea, the person immediately says, "Oh, then you have to read this book that has the same idea." It's like, I already had the idea. Why do I need to read the book? I would say, well, because it's a book. Yeah. So what's the difference? Well, this one's published and that one is a thought. Right? So a lot of problems are going to go away when you know what you're doing, when you present yourself where you need to be, where you want to be seen, right? Where you say, well, if somebody asks me about that interview or somebody asks me about this thing, I'm comfortable talking about this. I don't feel like I didn't belong. I felt I kicked butt, right? That was good. Make sense? Okay. So for this, what you are dealing with right now, so tune into this and actually tell me where you feel this physically.
I think my chest and my stomach.
Chest and stomach, which one's worse?
Like just above my stomach.
Stomach is worse. And what you said, I feel like a fraud, you said after all these years, and you said imposter syndrome. And then we talked about this one session, but I'm not sure how relevant that is. What is it you feel in your stomach, or is it something completely different?
I feel like I don't know how to get myself out there enough. Like I'm feeling like I've put it across to a couple of people where I've actually offered a few free sessions, and and it comes in waves, like my clients come in waves, and I think it's coming more from a place of scarcity than a place of abundance, if that makes sense.
I would like to throw something else in, if I may. We're really all about visibility. If I'm so good, then why does nobody see me? Why am I not being seen more? Why am I not one of those people that get interviewed in the Tapping Summit? I can't do that. Why don't they ask me? Why do they only ask the famous people? Right? Why do they have 15,000 followers and I have 300? My work is just as good. What's wrong with me? The best kept secret. Right? That can lead to this. Why am I not getting invited? And I just really quickly, some of us in our field, we really want to get invited. We don't want to push ourselves through a door. Right? Some people say like, hey, you need to pick me, like I'm the best person here. La, 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 la. Now forget about those. We know those, right? And very often they get the job, damn it, even though they're not as good, but they're better in their own self-promotion, right? And then the others are standing there and saying, that wasn't actually the best session I have ever seen. But nobody cares because they can't compare one to the other. Does that make sense? And that hurts. So that best kept secret that, nobody really sees me for who I am. People take me for granted. They don't even take my free stuff, right? Anybody ever had that? That hurts too, right? You do all this great work and it's free and you think like, okay, that's weird. Let's tap on it. Let us tap on that. Hey, Lucia, nice to see you.
Hi.
So, Hillary, let's tap. And karate chop point. Even though I have this feeling in my stomach.
Even I have this feeling in my stomach.
Maybe I'm a fraud.
Maybe I'm a fraud.
I mean, think about it.
Let me think about it.
After all these years, I still don't have the practice I would love to have.
Even after all these years, I still don't have the practice that I'd love to have.
Clients come and go.
Clients come and go.
It goes up and down.
It goes up and down.
It's not in my control.
It's not in my control.
I don't know how to control how many people see and work with me.
I don't know how to control how many people see and work with me.
I'm kind of at the mercy of those who refer me.
I'm kind of at the mercy of those who refer me.
And the publicity that I do know how to do.
And the publicity that I do know how to do.
And in that, I'm actually pretty good.
And in that, I'm actually pretty good, sort of.
Well, maybe not so good.
Maybe not so good.
And the truth might be.
And the truth might be.
That on some level, that's really hurtful.
That on some level, that's really hurtful.
It's just hurtful.
It's just hurtful.
Is that true?
Yeah. There's a part of me that just needs to believe in myself as well.
Okay. And even though there's a part of me that doesn't believe in me.
And even though there's a part of me that doesn't believe in me.
And it's fair to wonder if that started with EFT.
And it didn't start with EFT.
The truth is, it didn't start with EFT.
The truth is, it didn't start with EFT.
The truth is, this goes much deeper than EFT.
The truth is that this goes much deeper than EFT.
It might even be the reason why I found EFT.
It's exactly the reason why I found EFT.
You think it's intuition? Anybody raise your hand if you just had the same thought? Not intuition, it just makes sense, right? Because I hate that criticism.
I hate that criticism.
I always knew I can be more.
I always knew that I could be more.
Always knew I want to be more.
I always knew that I wanted to be more.
And here I am with all this potential.
And here I am with all this potential, and I really want to help people.
Say again.
And I really want to help people to be able to be the best versions of themselves.
I genuinely want to help people.
I genuinely want to help people.
I really want to help them.
I really want to help them.
I want them to be the best versions of themselves.
I want them to be the best versions of themselves.
And when I have clients, I do that.
And when I have clients, I do that.
They love me.
They love me.
They're growing.
They're growing.
I have awesome clients.
I have awesome clients.
My clients are amazing.
My clients are amazing.
I'm actually very proud of my clients.
I'm actually very proud of my clients.
And I love what I do.
And I love what I do.
So here is this old fear.
Here's this old fear.
Feeling like a fraud.
Feeling like a fraud.
Even though I know I'm not.
Even though I know I'm not.
Because I have all these clients to show for it.
I have all these clients to show for it.
But there is something deeper.
There's something deeper.
So much deeper.
So much deeper.
Damn it, and I thought I'd address that.
Damn it, and I thought I'd address that like about a
Here
million
we go
times.
again.
There we go again.
I'm so tired of this.
I'm so tired of this.
I don't want this.
I don't want this.
I want to put this behind me.
I want to put this behind me.
But maybe they said I can't.
But maybe
Somebody said that I can't.
somebody said that I can't.
Maybe I was judged somehow.
Maybe I was judged.
Maybe I do know what happened.
Maybe I do know what happened.
Quick question for you. Do you know what happened?
Do I know what's happening?
Oh, it's happening now? Okay. One or several people?
A few.
Okay. I'm surrounded by misery.
I am surrounded by misery.
I don't have my tribe.
I don't have my tribe.
I don't have people who support me.
I do have some people who support me, but not everybody.
Yeah. But I do have people who support me,
I do have people that support me.
but they're not telling the miserable people to shut the hell up.
They're not telling the miserable people to shut up.
They're not protecting me.
They're not protecting me.
What they're saying is not stronger than the negativity I receive.
What they're saying is not stronger than the negativity that I receive.
And that impacts me.
And that impacts me.
I might even feel trapped somehow.
I might even feel trapped somehow.
Is that true? Anybody else can relate to feeling trapped? Okay. I feel so trapped with that.
I feel so trapped with that.
I'm just trapped with all that negative energy.
I'm just trapped with all that negative energy.
It impacts me.
It impacts me.
And it's scary.
And it's scary.
Because if I really show up, what are they going to say?
Because if I really show up, what are they going to say?
They already mean to me.
They're already mean to me.
Even though I'm not really showing up.
Even though I'm not really showing up.
Not beyond what I have been doing for a long, long time.
Not beyond what I've been doing for a long, long time.
So what will happen if I do?
So what will happen if I do?
I feel so trapped sometimes.
I feel so trapped sometimes.
With these miserable people in my life.
With these miserable people in my life.
And a part of me so desperately wants to put this behind me.
And a part of me so desperately wants to put this behind me.
I just want to put this behind me.
I just want to put this behind me.
I don't want to feel trapped anymore.
I don't want to feel trapped anymore.
I don't want to have to tell people I'm not good enough.
I don't want to have to tell people that I'm not good enough.
I don't want to be judged.
I don't want to be judged.
My clients don't judge me.
My clients don't judge me.
My clients have actually never judged me.
My clients have actually never judged me.
They never said, oh, you're not as good as the other person.
Oh, yes. They've never actually said that you're not good enough. For what
They have or they have not?
They haven't.
Not one client
Not one client
that I have worked with in all these years
that I've worked with in all these years
has ever judged me.
has ever judged me.
And they know what I do.
And they know what I do.
They know why they choose me.
They know why they choose me.
Of all the famous people out there.
Of all the famous people out there.
And of all the others that aren't famous yet.
And of all the others that aren't famous yet.
They have worked with me.
They worked with me.
and they like it.
And they like it.
They grow.
They grow.
They shine.
They shine.
They benefit.
They benefit.
They become more.
They become more.
They become the best versions of themselves.
They become the best versions of themselves.
And nobody who ever who really knows me and knows what I do
And nobody who really knows me and knows what I do
has ever said anything different.
has ever said anything different.
Deep breath. How does it feel?
It definitely feels like I feel calmer and I feel like more more ready to go. Like, you know,
I'm gonna go out on a little hunch right now. Top of your head. Then why do I feel so damn vulnerable?
and why do I feel so damn vulnerable?
Yes, I feel vulnerable sometimes.
I feel vulnerable sometimes.
This is a very vulnerable place sometimes.
This is a very vulnerable place sometimes.
I go out there and I do my very best work,
I go out there and I do my very best work,
trying to really help people.
trying to really help people.
And nobody other than my client knows what I really do.
Nobody other than my client knows what I really do.
And it's so hard to explain it to people who aren't there.
And I find it very hard to explain it to people.
It's pretty much impossible.
It's pretty much impossible.
So how do I become seen for who I am?
So how do I become seen for who I am?
How do I make people understand who I am?
How do I understand? Ugh, I lost you.
How do I tell them the right stories
How do I tell them the right stories
so they understand the quality of my work?
so that they understand the quality of my work?
And especially the quality of the outcomes they can achieve.
And especially the quality of the outcomes that they can achieve.
Because it's all about them.
It's all about them.
And that is true.
That is true.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And that's intimidating.
And that's intimidating.
And very vulnerable.
And very vulnerable.
Because there's a part of my life
Because there's a part of my life
in which I'm so much further than they will ever know.
which I'm so much further than they will ever know. What's coming up for me now is a client that I had over a long period of time. She literally started off like very insecure, crying all the time. I'm not going to give details. And like just recently, she started up a whole network of people helping a certain crowd of people. And she's busy telling me in a session, like she hadn't been back to me for a while because she moved countries and whatever. And she started telling me in a session how she was getting this professional and this professional to help and that, like this, you know, and I was like she didn't even ask me. Like, and I could be so like I could really help a lot of people.
I know.
And it was so stupid. Like it just, yeah, just made me feel more insecure again.
Okay. What would you wish you would have said? What do you wish you would have said? How would you have rather like, what's in your dream situation, what would you have liked to do or say? Can anybody else relate to that? Right? Like people tell you, oh, I just spent like $5,000, $25,000 with this great program, you know, and you say, well, mine is 500. I offer all that. What? Make sense? I think everybody goes through it. And I tell you, and I'm sorry, I'm going to shove it down your from your whatever into the other. The answer is publicity. That's the only reason why you did not show up in her life at the time she was looking. That's why, right? And that's why we'll need to learn, and it's not marketing, You know, it's really publicity, meaning being visible and staying visible, even if you have nothing to market. It means showing up on other people's platforms, having people refer to you, right? The best kind of referral of publicity is when other people start quoting you. You know, oh gosh, I heard you on this podcast. You know, you do this, right? That's what publicity means. You go public, not just you have, you know, this 1 3-minute gig in some place and who knows where, right? That's not public. Publicity means that you are starting to intersect what you do with what other people do. And you enter different platforms. You become kind of omnipresent. You're becoming like the person who does, right? And what you just told me with the imposter syndrome, and they're not feeling good enough, and the clients who, you know, they're all amazing, and you have all these stories. Those are already stories. And when people hear that, right, you know, they will relate to you and they will see you and you have something to say and offer. Actually, I know Michelle, you did years ago, you did a podcast. I don't know if you'd still do that, but I still remember that because I was in a podcast like, what, 15 years ago or whatever it was. I don't know. But
it was a very long time ago. And thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, because that stuck with me. To me, Michelle Price is a person with a podcast. I didn't even know you're not doing it anymore, but that's in my mind, it's like one thing. Yeah, it was back in the days of Paul Zellitzer and everybody else, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
We're going way back here. You know, and so these are, and so I'm sure, Michelle, that you can relate to this too, right? I mean, that gives you instant credibility, this kind of thing.
Well, you know, one of the things that I find, and I even put a little remark in the chat there, is that a lot of times when you have developed yourself to be able to receive that level of publicity, it's a lot easier to attract it versus repelling it. And so many times we don't recognize when we're repelling the very people we want to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and that's, I really appreciate that. And that's where humbleness comes in. You know, never lose the humbleness. Never lose your ability to say, I really have no idea where we're going to go, but I can tell you, we're going to get started and we'll see what happens. And if something doesn't work for you, you tell me. Right? To not say, oh, I know how to fix this. I had like 15 clients like you know, we don't. And, you know, in my trainings, also as an EFT trainer, always tell my clients, ask your client. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people say, how do you tap on? Well, how do you tap on food cravings? How do you tap on this? How do you tap on the, you know, leg cramps? And the answer is always 100% and without any fail the same. Ask your client. If you don't know where to start, chances are you don't have enough information. Who has the information? Your client. Your client knows. And if the client says, I don't know, then the question is, why not? Because you're living with this. Tell me more. Right? It's there's always another question to open up another gate. Right? And when you master this, the humbleness and the integrity to not have to know. That's different, Barb, by the way, from a brother who is a dentist. If your brother doesn't know, don't get in my mouth. Right? You're a dentist. You know, if you don't know how to do a root canal, then just tell me I'm out of here. Right? But that's not our field. Right? We're not supposed to take I said this in the marketing class, we're not supposed to take a Phillips screwdriver and drill it into everything and the world will never wobble again. That's not what we do. And the more we own that, and the better we become at coaching and mentoring, and the less entitled we feel that the outcomes are all happening because we're so fantastic in what we do, right? And instead understand that we're really just holding a process here. And we're giving back what we understand. And if we don't get it right, we have every right to not understand correctly, because we're human beings. We have a responsibility to ask. I interrupted several times with you and said, do I get this correctly? Is this right? Does this work? What do you think? You know, and the reason is not to make this sound cool, but because I didn't have a clue. And I realized I would have put I would have made assumptions that I can't make. I don't know you well enough. And even if I did, I still can't make assumptions, right? So the more you own in your heart that you are who you offer what you offer. And when somebody said, well, can you work with all the different things and you've never done it? Then the answer is, well, here's what I can do. Here's where my experience is. And here is what I know about EFT, right? Why? Because this is what your experience is, and here's what you know about EFT. Chances are they're going to combine if it's for you, and you're going to be able to do things you've never done before, because that's how we all grow in the field, right? But don't think you need to sell yourself as somebody you're not, right? And that's what that vulnerability makes you relatable. And it makes you Oprah. That's what Oprah does. That's why people like Oprah, because she's like, oh my God, I have no idea. And people say, oh my God, she's just like me. She's not like me. Clearly, there's a billion differences between her and me, but but in a way she is, because she's a human being who's trying Weight Watchers and doing the thing and knows all the people and who's just constantly pushing herself, right? And who's done very uncomfortable things in her life. Right. And this is also part of that publicity and really taking that step up. There are things that aren't free. Number one, the really good things are never free, right? The things that are free are the things that help people get to a level from which they can make a decision. That's always the case, right? But if you really make a decision, you want to step to a different level, that's a big deal. That's a life-changing decisions with a completely different level of commitment. Does that make sense? And that's why this is how you see this. And that's, you know, decisions we make. There are gazillion things we don't do and certain things we know we need to do. And that's, you know, where we're at. But believe you me, Oprah is scared shitless. You know, you think she wanted to do that interview with Prince Harry? Hell no. You know, she was tipping the throne over by doing this, and she must have known. And she just thought, well, who if not me? You know, it's, I guess, right? But think about that. Everybody has sleepless nights. Everybody is scared. But the reason is very often just because we haven't done it yet. We don't know the outcome yet. Or, and this is the other piece, and you saw this in the Olympics, because people make assumptions about you for work you haven't done yet. And that's super unfair. In the Olympics, this happened all the time. And people say, oh, this person's going to be a gold medalist. She hasn't even done her run yet, right? Let her be down and then decide. But when we feel like people put so much pressure on us and giving us so much crap and so many expectations for their own reasons, that's when we start to crumble. And that's where your peers come in. That's where the people come and say, come on, you know, headset, happy music, let's not listen. That's not helpful, right? And you know, and that's another thing as you get out there and as you just own who you are and tell a lot of people about it, and also tell about how you started. You know, it's so important. I actually started this 10 years ago, but you know, I had a brother who's a dentist who told me that unless I'm perfect, I can't help anybody. Right? And everybody kind of thinks like, wow, yeah, I have a brother like that. He's not a dentist, but he's a plumber. That talk to him, you know. You know, that's your story, that's your stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, anyway, so grow with the things and know how to separate things and have people close by your side who totally get where you're at and just cheer you on. I had people that I've worked with that I did a lot of training with actually, and it was completely useless. I learned a lot of things, but they never told me that I am right to do what I want to do. I have a niche, I have a heart, I have a passion, and they said, well, that's not really a niche. If somebody tells you your niche is a niche, then change your mentor. It's not a niche, change your mentor, right? If they can't hold the vision for you, they can't hold the vision for you. It's done, it's over, right? If you don't think this is a business, great, next, right? And it doesn't matter how great they are because they're not for you. Does that make sense? So I hope to give you some encouraging tools here to just say, hey, when I'm with my people, I'm very successful and I can grow. And I can do this. And I can just do what's right for me today, and tomorrow is a different day. Right. And on top of that, also really quickly, all of you guys, all of us have the right to not always do our best job. Okay, that's okay. As long as you don't hurt somebody, when you're not your best, that happens, right? When you think later, man, I wish I'd done this differently. That's how we learn. But if you don't try, you can't fail, right? And you have the right to fail, but you don't really, if you're serious that this is what you want to do, then wonder if you have the right to not try. And if I think you saw this when Mary and I started working, I set myself up for failure. Did you notice that? And I said, I have no idea where we're going to go and if this is going to do anything. Let's just find out. Because when you do that, then you allow yourself to just show up. And when you just show up, then everything after that is hopefully a good thing because you're very honest and sincere in what you do. Right? And it's very easy to argue with the dentist brother and say, you know what, I actually have 1,500 clients or 500 clients, or I would know from the top of my head, I would know 5 people who have actually worked with me who completely disagree with you. How's that for an argument? Just from the top of my head. You want me to give them your phone number? You know, do you want to talk to my clients? Because clearly you're not my client. So how would you judge me? Right? So gain that confidence and just, does that make sense? How do you feel about imposter syndrome right now, Hillary?
Like I'm talking a load of crap, excuse me saying.
You talking or you taking?
Talking.
What do you mean?
Like it's nonsense.
What's nonsense?
It's nonsense that I'm an imposter. I'm doing my best. I have clients that are telling me that like the sessions are amazing. Like, as you said, like, you know, I'll tell my clients straight away, if there's anything you want to change, anything like wording you want to shift, you know, it's all about them. It's not about me. And I've got testimonials to prove that. Just because other people aren't saying it per se or giving me testimony, and that's not true either. I was about to say, like, people aren't giving any testimonials on on social media and stuff. It's not true. On some of the WhatsApp groups, people have actually commented they had an amazing session with me, and it just takes more time to get out there than it does with, like, let's say, like, you know, I also sell like raw honey and Himalayan salt and flour, or whatever the case may be. People are quicker to refer you to Hillary to go and buy those things than they are to refer me as an EFT practitioner, because it's personal. Not everybody feels comfortable going and saying, listen, Hillary's a great EFT practitioner.
No. Oprah always said you have to listen to Eckhart Tolle. You do. You know, you need juice, take some drugs. You need to, you know, you need to have your mind blown, Eckhart Tolle. Publicity. Every time I talk about something, whatever in my field, people say, oh, have you read, you must have read Brené Brown. I have not read Brené Brown. I know who she is. I've met her at a talk. I haven't read her book. What she's saying is not so unique that I need to read her book in order to enlighten myself. It doesn't mean I'm not learning, but it means it's not mandatory to read other people's books in order to be good at what you do. Right? It's not like you need to know everybody else's stuff before you can claim that you're pretty genius. You're genius in what you do. And you grow with that. But you start at yourself and not at other people's stuff. Otherwise, you just become a library. Does that make sense? So you own who you are, and then you start pulling in information that is serving you and your clients. Instead of saying, let me read all there is about everything that's ever been done about EFT, and you never finish, so you never start. Right? Your purpose is what guides what you need to know. I don't know the least thing about drug addictions. Nothing. I have never worked with somebody who's autistic. Okay. I have never taken drugs. I will never take drugs. I go as high as a glass of wine. I never had a desire to do anything else. I wouldn't even know to understand somebody who has drug problems. And I have no desire to change that, because there are plenty of ex-drug people who know exactly what the people are going through. Right? I will also not work with a fascist. I'm German. I don't like him. Don't bring me a fascist. I don't like fascists. Done, period. I know you have childhood stories. There are plenty of people who are better at this than I am. I'm just going to suck with you because I'm going to not like you. Right? Does that make sense? So you find your field where you feel right. Right? And where you expand and start to think, wow, what else can my people need? And who else is in that field? And that's why your publicity comes in. That's why you need to learn how to get publicity. You need to learn that. This is not intuitive. This is not about the quality of your work, but it is about learning what you need to do in order to be seen. Be seen in outlets or areas where people are looking. Right? And where a lot of people are looking, not just one or two. It's not like your mother-in-law referring her best friend to you. Right? It's really, where can I enter a field of thousands of people who are actually looking for somebody like me? And what's my way of helping them and supporting them? And there are things you need to know. They're not intuitive, right? And they're not automatic. But once you start doing that, you will realize that you're also helping the field. Right? Everybody starts elevating, like, oh, EFT, yeah, I've heard about it here and there and here and there. Oh, this is all over the place. You do that? Tell me about it. Right? So you start really being in that field, but only when people know about you. And that's really why I'm, want to encourage you to stop being so afraid of that. You can always not pull the plug. You can always say, yeah, let's not, take that down. I don't want it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You guys get that? Okay. And in the EFT field, we would be so much further if we'd done this 20 years ago. And not been waiting around for people to find us. We never had, EFT never really had a good marketing strategy, like a real publicity, not marketing. Marketing is plenty of marketing. Marketing basically means you do something and you sell it. Right? Like, I have this course, I sell it. I need 15 people to sell this, and that's marketing, right? And you do that. And that's a skill set you need to learn as well, because otherwise you're just not having clients, you just have people know you. But publicity means people know that you exist. They've heard about you. They think they've heard about you before, right? That means you become the voice and face for what's important to you. And you get to decide how to do that. Make sense? Yeah? Okay, so what comes up for you? Let me ask you, what came up? This was I hope this was a little bit of a shift, but shifts always have another side to them. So tell me what the other side. Congratulations, by the way, Hillary. Yes, you're good. You're good enough. You're good enough to be seen. You are definitely good. Oh, one more thing. If you guys want to take a note, testimonials. Anybody needs testimonials? Why do you think you're not getting testimonials? Just open the mic. Tell me, why do you think you're not getting enough testimonials?
Because you're not asking.
Because I never asked, right?
How do you ask for testimonials? You guys getting a full-blown coaching session here, and I don't care. How do you ask for testimonials?
I normally say,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I normally say, is there something you could tell me about the session that would help other people that would want to understand how it might help them, rather than making it so much about me? I don't know if that's right.
And do you like the testimonials I sent?
Yeah, amazing.
Okay. Okay, cool. Anybody else? How do you ask for testimonials? I love it. Everybody says, my clients love me. Work is awesome, but I think I'm an imposter. I'm not good enough and I shouldn't be seen. It's like, duh. Go save the world, damn it. They really, our world is now in a state of worldwide PTSD. We literally have PTSD symptoms. Okay. You go through the list, there's 17 of them, and I can tell you every single, we're hiding, we're hypervigilant, we're aggressive, we lose interest in things we used to enjoy, we don't sleep well. We have on a global level this thing. And it's important to not say, you just need to pray and everything will be well, because I can tell you that the people who are dying in the Ukraine right now, they're praying their guts up. I mean, it's just not, it's just, it's a part of it. Your spirituality is a part of it, but do what you just understand. We're going through the most massive international trauma. All stops are out, right? And we're needed out there, and we can't hide anymore, right? The drug industry is probably ready for this, but I think we're better. So can I share with you one of my tricks that I tell my clients and students? 3 questions. Before working with me, I did. While working with you, I experienced. And as a result of working with you, I now can. Okay, or what made working with me, what made working with me special was, or the biggest benefit of working with you was. And as a result of that, I can. Okay, craft the middle part a little bit if you want to. Okay, so there is a before, this is what makes you special, and as a result of that, I can. And then you can take the questions out and you have a beautiful testimonial every single time. And you can tell your clients exactly what you need them to say. Okay, so you basically say, hey, you know what, would you shoot me like a couple lines each about these questions? I worked with Hillary because, before Hillary, working with Hillary, my problem was, while I worked with Hillary, I experienced, and what I really liked about working with her, it was. And now, as a result of our work, I'm happy to share that. Okay, this is how you ask for a testimonial. Make sense? Okay, and those you will get a lot more when you're specific. Otherwise, people don't just, very often they just say, oh, I love you so much. You're like, nah, great. You need data, remember that. Make sense? I hope this was helpful too. What else can I serve you with? Who else has something that you would like to talk about? Laura is signing off. I'm not good at the chat right now. I hope you guys are better than I am. Michelle, you said, hold on, you said, isn't it fair if you've not developed yourself to receive that level of awareness publicity, you will repeal it? Michelle, is this something, is that the same thing that we just talked about? Okay.
Yes, we talked about that verbally.
Okay. So where are you at now? Think about fear of being seen, being judged. Another thing that just comes to mind, when you are in control of your publicity, you tell people what to judge. Right? When you know your stories, when you know how to present what you want people to talk about, they will judge what you decided. And your fear of judgment will actually be will go away, because you already know what they're going to say. If you craft this correctly, they will love you after you tell your story. Make sense? So that's a fear of judgment, fear of being seen. Is it a fear of being seen by the wrong people? Who would you like to not be seen by? Who do you want to not know what you're doing? Like, let's say you give a speech and you think, oh, should they hear? Anybody has any idea who you would like to kind of hide away from? And you might not, but maybe you do.
Ingrid, I'll hold my hand up. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Even when you're farther along in your journey, there's still people who've criticized you. So yes, there are some people who are just always going to be criticizing, and I have them too. So
Okay.
people who criticize. You asked a question, so I'd say people who choose to criticize you. I mean, they're all going to have different reasons.
Right. And and that is definitely true. The more known you become, the more that is just true, right? I mean, there's a lot of weird folks out there, and this is such an important. Michelle, thank you so much for bringing that up. Right, because we all know the Twitter trolls and the Instagram trolls and whatever they do. They just say crappy stuff, right? And they're just miserable people who need to find somebody to let it out on and feel better as. How does it feel that that's true? That's true. Do you want to tap on that?
Are you talking to the group or me?
I'm open question. If you started it, so if you'd like to.
Okay,
tell me
I'll be the, what do you call it?
How does it feel that it's true? People, the more people know you, the higher the probability that folks will say weird stuff. I have this on my YouTubes. Where do you do this funny thing? Or you spend hours making a great YouTube and they say, I can't hear you. And you think in your mind, and it's free, bitch. It's like, you should really translate that. And you should really translate it yourself. It happens, right? So talk to me. How does this feel to you, Michelle?
So what I was going to say is I don't think it's so much the more people know me. I think people feel emboldened when you put yourself out there to say hurtful things because they're hurt.
Okay. And you think that, or you know that?
Well, I've observed it too many times to not know it.
Okay. And the people that said the hurtful stuff, were those people you know, or people that just showed up randomly?
It's been both.
Okay. So they basically use you like a mirror.
Yeah. And
Okay.
once I started studying human design, I understood why, because I'm a 5/1 manifesting generator. So I'm out there to bring big things to the world. And I do serve as a mirror for people. So it's allowed me to take a totally different ownership and position on it. Because I do always check with myself first. So when someone criticizes, even though it can be painful, because it's hurtful, there's a difference between when someone is expressing something they have unsurety about, and it could come across as criticism, versus when someone's saying something personally, intentionally mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Which one is easier to take?
Easier to take. Well, for me, it's always easier to take when I know they're in pain, because as soon as something shows up in my world like that, I always ask, okay, which, if any, part of this do I own?
Okay. Which one makes you feel safer? The people that generally criticize you, or the people that are just plain mean? You see how it's important to ask ourselves these questions, right? I think everything we do here is also kind of a coaching moment, right? Because so often we accept the way we feel without actually questioning what that does and means, right? And the more you do that, the easier it becomes clear on where we need to go with all this and what the stuff actually is. And that's something that I would like for you guys. So, so which one's harder to take? Which one's makes you feel less safe?
When people are personally and intentionally mean.
That makes you less safe.
Yeah.
Okay, and why is that?
Because it's easier to have grace for people when they're in pain and they're in the healing process.
Mm-hmm. What if they're not in the healing process? They're just mean.
So my body wants to be mean back.
There you go. There you go. And I think, you know, you have the right to decide if you want to be compassionate or just say, you're just a mean bitch right now. You know, I mean, in your mind, you can reframe that a little more elegant, but you know what I mean, right? You can either say, hey, stop. Or you can say, I wonder if you're a potential client. We should get on the phone, you know, you heard. Right. But that, I mean, that's really, I mean, if somebody oversteps like that, you have the right to just make that decision. I wonder if they are a client. And actually, just really quickly for you guys, when sometimes I got clients this way, right? They did not know that they were so mean or critical or said something that was really a big deal. They said, but I'm just honest. I just wanted you to know. And then you say, hey, you know what? Let's get on the phone. Tell me more. Here's another trick for you. Write this down. It's coaching moment. People, you should pay for this. It says, tell me more. Always, 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 always use this. Tell me more. Okay. So they say this completely inappropriate, out of the box thing. And you think like, oh, whoa, 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 somebody's having a bad day. And when you pull instead of push, I learned this in martial arts too, right? Somebody pushes you, you pull and they fall. You push, they push, everybody's standing in the middle and you're kind of locked. So you say, whoa, I heard what I heard. I read your comment. You said this, and the other thing. And, you know, I just wonder, maybe we should get on the phone. I mean, I hear you. Thank you for taking the time to share it, for sharing this. And let's get on the phone. And by the way, don't give them your calendar link because they're not going to use that. Just say, hey, I have time here and then let's talk. Because I mean, I clearly want to hear more about why you said that. And there's one of two options that will happen. One of them is they say, hey, you know, thank you for your kindness. I think I was a little over the top. And the other one is you will never hear from them again. Both versions are good. Well, they're good solutions, right? But you're learning how to handle these things. And you may get a ton of clients this way because they feel challenged by you and they tell you that, right? And you can pick them up and say, hey, let's move on. That's challenge accepted. Somebody leaving? Oh, who's leaving? Hillary, are you leaving? Oh yeah, because it's midnight. Oh, I hear you. Hillary, really quickly, and you guys know now, right? I'm talking about the challenge because I believe you need it. What you need to do after the challenge is totally up to you, but do the challenge and find out where you're at and what works for you. Okay, there is a VIP upgrade, which means you get recordings and workouts and books and stuff like that. I can send you that link too, totally up to you. But there are things we need to learn. And they're not intuitive, and I'm not the person to teach you this. Okay, I know this stuff. The other stuff I've learned, but I'm not a trainer. So I want to give you the access to that. Hillary, you go kick some butt, girl. Tell them to shut up. You have a client to work with. You have time for this. You know, you're booked until tomorrow. Talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
Ingrid, you're awesome. I just have to say thank you so much. It was really, I wasn't going to join tonight because it's like really in the middle of like supper time and everything with my kids and stuff. But I'm so happy I did. And I met some really amazing people. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Great. I know, you know, and Michelle, I'm a projector, right? So my job is to make everybody see who they are, right? Because you guys are amazing. And you all work for each other and with each other. You support each other. Everybody has such different energy, right? But everybody is like that puzzle piece and it's needed, right? So I love that. And thanks for coming in the middle of the, no, it's actually, it's 12 hours.
It's
there?
it's
No.
it's like 10 to 8 now in the evening.
Okay, so it's 6 hours. Okay, good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful week, everybody.
Thank you. You too. And it's probably clear. I mean, we could go on and on, and we will not do that. But let's do maybe, is this a good place to stop? The real, and I think I really even said this in the beginning when I announced the class, that, there is real criticism. That's not just possible, it's going to happen. Right. And I remember when the tapping summit started for the first time, that was all, we were all kind of, it all goes a long way back. They got so much crap they wanted to fold. They were in tears. I mean, it was brutal what people said. And especially when it comes to people saying, why is there something I need to buy? I thought it's all free. And I knew that they'd spent their own money putting this thing in there, right? That is personal investment. This is not like, and then people still say, well, you should give this to me, and you should do this. And they were just thinking, I can't even do that. And you will always have that, and that is true, but it's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're becoming seen to all sorts of people, right? Part of that is having an antenna. Having your antenna set up in such a way that it's very hard to stick to you in a negative way, which is where your vulnerability comes in, right? The more vulnerable, not weak, but vulnerable and open and whatever, and non-judgmental you show up, the less likely they will find something, to push against, because you're really too soft to do that, right? When you lift them up, a lot of people like to be lifted up. And a lot of people are really just crappy people. And so we should probably work on that, right? And what do you think is the first thing I'm going to say? Who has a guess? What's the first thing I'm going to say?
One thing I've learned when people say crappy things is to try and think that that's coming from a place of pain.
But you don't know that.
Some of their
Maybe
own.
just
I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But
so don't make that assumption. We don't know. Because that would mean you judge them and you see them lower than you. Maybe
it's not that I see them lower than me. I just see them in a place where they're hurting.
But maybe they're not hurting. Who says they're hurting?
Yeah, that's true. They might
You
like
have. That's really true, right? I mean, let's just say they say something that is deeply right to them and true for them. And they tell you that, or you say that, and the answer of the other person is, well, you're just hurting. It doesn't feel good, doesn't it? You notice?
Well, I wouldn't say it if they were. I guess it depends on what they're coming at me with. If they're coming at me, they're criticizing me and what I'm doing and that kind of thing. I would treat that differently than if they're giving a judgment about themselves. I'm not explaining that correctly.
I think I get it, but how is everybody else? Do you guys get that? Okay, so yeah. What do you think? Do we need to understand why somebody is in a certain way? Because they're not your client yet. They haven't paid you yet, right? They haven't opened the checkbook and said, well, here's how that. So do you need to think? Somebody over there is just dropping her phone. Lee, I think you dropped your phone. No, walking actually. Well, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
In and out.
Didn't mean to do that with the video. Sorry about that. I was trying to check the time.
Yeah, we need to stop. We need to stop. But I just really wanted to make sure that we get to this point, because I think that's important too. As you guys become more visible, and you really start carving out your space and talk to people that are a good platform for you and give you, that support. I don't know that we need to always think somebody's hurting. We don't know what they're going through, right? It's assumptions to say you're hurting. Maybe they're not. I mean, and even if it was so, then why is that any of our business? It's not, we don't need to. I personally feel like that's,
Just to clarify, I wouldn't say that to them. That would just be in my mind to help me get through what they're saying about me or saying.
Is
about
it
what I'm
helping
doing.
though?
I think it is if somebody's being really critical about me, like if they're correct, that's different. If it's something that I was doing incorrectly or whatever, that's different. But if they're just like even my brother saying you need to clear your crap first, like he knows nothing about me. I haven't even seen him in 10 years since my dad's funeral.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So for him to say that, I'm like, okay, I try to figure out where he's coming from with that versus
Why?
the fact that
He's being a jerk.
well, exactly. Well, that's part of it.
You're being a total jerk right now.
So is the difference just saying,
shut up?
Is the difference saying, why would you say that? What do you know about that? Or is that too harsh of a comeback?
What do you mean?
Back to a brother situation, because we have that in common.
That makes the three of us.
If they say something negative in a know-it-all way, which was what my experience was, I don't know. I don't really have that much compassion for them. I just want to tell them to shut up, but that's not productive.
Why not? I think it's very productive.
Because I was trained to be a good girl.
That's the problem. I was trying to be a good girl, but I'm gonna forget about that for a minute. Just shut up. You don't know nothing about me. Yeah, no, I hear you. And I mean, I hear your point, and I don't want to dismiss that. I want to actually just pull out a little bit more, because I think sometimes we'll have these ideas of what we should be doing, and I think sometimes people have to earn the right to take over that much part of our brain and our thoughts, for them to just push themselves in and occupy our mind for the entire afternoon because they just said something inappropriate, unsolicited. Like, who are you helping? Like, why is this? Now I'm thinking about this all day. I had other things to do. I can't do them because now you told me that, right? It's one good tool. Actually, we should start tapping. Okay. And again, I have no idea where we're gonna go. Let's figure this out. Everybody in? Karate chop point. Who wants to be the victim? You do? Okay, Bob, let's do that. Okay. Where do you want to start? And Michelle, I hear you. So we're going to pull in from different people, by the way. We're not just focusing on that. So Michelle, I'm very grateful you brought this up. Okay. So Bob.
Just how to respond when people are critical, say critical things to you, I guess.
Even though people have been critical.
People have been critical.
And that impacted me.
And that impacted me.
It programmed me.
It programmed me.
I needed to find ways to manage that.
I needed to find ways to manage that.
Some of them at a very young age.
Some of them at a very young age.
At an age where I was not protected by others from getting hurt.
At an age where I was not protected from others from getting hurt.
Maybe even when my parents didn't tell my brother to shut up.
Maybe even when my parents didn't tell my brother to shut up.
Is that true?
That is true. Not this particular brother, but the other one.
Mm-hmm. Those who should have protected me didn't do that.
Those who should have protected me didn't do that.
So I had to do it myself.
So I had to do it myself.
And I was too young for that.
I was too young for that.
And that confused me.
And that confused me.
And even though I grew up with this confusion.
And even though I grew up with this confusion.
Why is nobody helping me?
Why is nobody helping me?
Why is nobody protecting me?
Why is nobody protecting me?
Because people are hurting my feelings and nobody speaks up for me.
People are hurting my feelings and nobody speaks up for me.
And that confused me for years.
And that confused me for years.
What's wrong with me that people don't protect me?
What's wrong with me that people don't protect me?
Isn't it obvious that this isn't fair?
Isn't it obvious that this isn't fair?
What's wrong with me
What is wrong with me
that this isn't happening?
that this isn't happening?
What am I doing wrong?
What am I doing wrong?
And how do I respond?
How do I respond?
Because I'm too young to have a good response.
I am too young to have a good response.
So all I can do is cry and run.
All I can do is cry and run. And I was taught to be seen and not heard.
And just try to be seen and not heard.
Just trying to be seen and not heard.
And there goes your publicity.
There goes my publicity.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
I always thought it's not okay to be heard.
I always thought it's not okay to be heard.
Because if somebody says something wrong, nobody will protect me.
Because if somebody says something wrong, nobody will protect me.
And I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
That hurts.
That hurts.
And it's confusing.
It's confusing.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Did I really say something wrong?
Did I really say something wrong?
I mean, what is causing this reaction?
What is causing this reaction?
Why would you say that to somebody?
Why would you even say that to somebody?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
To just overstep like that?
To just overstep like that?
What gives you the right to do that?
What gives you the right to do that?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe you're doing that.
I can't believe you're doing that.
This is a big deal for me.
This is a big deal for me.
I was so confused as a kid.
I was so confused as a kid.
Because it should have been right to protect me.
It should have been right to protect me.
But nobody ever did.
Nobody ever did.
Nobody ever did.
Nobody ever did.
And all these years later,
all these years later,
and all the EFT training later,
and all the EFT training later,
I think I found a solution for my confusion.
I think I found a solution for my confusion.
The solution might be that my brother's hurting too.
The solution might be that my brothers are hurting too.
So that's a solution for not being protected.
That's a solution for not being protected.
Trying to be the bigger person.
Trying to be the bigger person.
That's all I could come up with so far.
Mary just put in there that she protected everybody and to get a real job.
Yeah, those real jobs, right?
It's real jobs.
I protected everybody. Why aren't they protecting me?
I protected everybody. Why aren't they protecting me?
I know what needs to be done.
I know what needs to be done.
I know what's right.
I know what's right.
If this was happening to somebody else, I'd speak up.
If this was happening to somebody else, I'd speak up.
But nobody's speaking up for me.
Nobody's speaking up for me.
And here I am trying to get myself out there.
And here I am trying to get myself out there.
What if nobody protects me?
What if nobody protects me?
Well, they all must be hurting.
They all must be hurting.
I guess.
I guess.
I'm not sure what that does for me to know that.
I'm not sure what that does for me to know that.
Truth is, I knew that before they started insulting me.
Truth is, I knew that before they started consulting me.
They don't have to insult me for me to know that they're hurting.
They don't have to insult me for me to know that they're hurting.
I'm so stuck with this.
I am so stuck with this.
This sucks.
This sucks.
It does.
It really does.
I'm just going to own that for a minute.
I'm just going to own that for a minute.
Because chances are I've never learned the tools to tell them to stop.
I've never learned the tools to tell them to stop.
Deep breath. How are we doing?
Yeah, and I realized as well that the couple times that I did manage to tell them to shut up or to stop, that's the part that my parents heard, and I got in trouble for that because they didn't hear the first part. They just heard what my response. So that's another part to just.
So that added insult to injury.
That added insult to injury.
No wonder I'm still struggling with that.
No wonder I'm still struggling with that.
This was all messed up.
This was all messed up.
It was all unfair.
It was all unfair.
Truth is, I never had my back.
Truth is, they've never had my back.
They've never had my back.
They've never had my back.
And as an adult, I still feel that.
And as an adult, I still feel that.
And I'm just gonna honor that for a second.
And I'm just going to honor that.
Truth is, I don't need to understand everybody.
The truth is, I don't need to understand everybody.
My brother was a little jerk.
My brother was a big jerk. He was older.
My brother was a big little jerk.
My brother was a big little jerk.
And now he's a big jerk.
And now he's a big jerk.
So maybe a good answer might be this.
Maybe a good answer might be this.
You never changed, did you?
I never changed.
No, you never changed, brother.
Oh, right. He never changed.
You know, I never liked that about you.
I've never liked that about you.
I wonder why you've always been like that.
I wonder why you've always been like that.
I mean, you must have known that that's hurtful and inappropriate.
You must have known that that's hurtful and inappropriate.
But you've always done this, even as a kid.
You've always done this, even as a kid.
Strange.
Very strange.
You're weird.
You're weird.
You're so weird.
You're so weird.
You are really weird right now.
You're being really weird right now.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, I never really saw you like this.
I never really saw you like this.
But I'm seeing you like this.
But I'm seeing like you like this now.
You're weird.
You are weird.
And you are saying weird things.
And you are saying weird things.
And I never liked that.
I never liked that.
I wonder why you say weird things.
I wonder why you say these weird things.
I mean, what's in it for you to drag me down?
What is in it for you to drag me down?
And that's a serious question.
Mm.
That is a serious question.
That is a serious question.
I have a question for you.
I have a question for you.
Because there's got to be something in it for you.
There has to be something in it for you.
My clients love me.
My clients love me.
And my practice is fine.
And my practice is fine.
So there's got to be something in it for you.
So there's got to be something in it for you.
And we have two options now.
We have two options now.
You can tell me or shut up.
You can tell me or you can shut up.
I'm willing to listen.
I'm willing to listen.
But I'm not willing to take crap.
But I'm not willing to take crap.
Talking about cleaning up my crap.
Talking about cleaning up my crap.
This would be the first thing I need to clean up.
This would be the first thing I need to clean up.
Let's get to it, shall we?
Let's get to it. I love that.
That was brilliant.
Yes. Agreed. Thank you.
Look around the room. Everybody is laughing and smiling and like, kind of, yeah, that was me. Girls, we're not alone in this. We are not. This is if you want to clean up some crap, it's an opportunity. Funny you should say that, you know, because the one reason why I always thought like I shouldn't is because you, ever since you were yay high, had to say something bad about me. And I didn't get support in telling you to shut up. Right? I mean, imagine how different your life would have been. Little fuck. Sorry. I mean, hey, how old can you be to do this to you? So, I think we get the message, right? And we do, oh my God, we went on, but I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? It's 2:11. Okay, so that's, yeah. You know, the way I've set up my practice is that I just know I like to serve and I like to support you. So my practice is set up for longer time frames. Yours may be set up for different things. You do you, okay? You decide what works for you, the time you have, when you have it, the people you want to work with, and who you want people, and what kind of people you would like to see you, right? You decide what stories you tell them. You decide where your boundaries are, what you don't want to do. You have the right to change your mind when you change your mind, right? You also have the right to not tell people things if it's none of their business. You do not need to tell them everything about you. There are things that are none of their business. Okay, you don't need to. Vulnerability just means that you have nothing to hide. That doesn't mean that you show everything. Okay. If people say, well, I didn't know that about you, you said, yeah, I would be dumb to tell you because it would distract you and not help me. So what's the point, right? Remember that everybody has these things. Everybody does, right? There are very vulnerable moments even in very well-known people. And it's important to understand that as you become more seen, you also meet nicer people. Because everybody who is also seen, they've all been through this. Everybody's gone through the elevator. Everybody's had this, oh shit, I can't do this. Everybody had this, I'm not ready, right? Doing this is brutally hard for me, right? Because I'm doing whatever I can, and I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if I'm helping enough. I don't know if I'm getting the message across that, you know, if you don't take action, nobody will see you. I don't know if you get that, you know, because I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying too much or not enough. I don't know, right? And chances are both, right? But what are you going to do? You do your best and you figure it out. And if you make a mistake and it's a bad one, you apologize. And if not, you hope they forget and you apologize anyway. Or sometimes it's just, hey, you know, it seems like this is how I do things, and it's just not for everybody. And that's true too, right? And the more you do this and the more you reach out and the more you give yourself an opportunity to go back and say, hey, this was actually good. And this was not good. And this was fine. And just understand how you tick and how you come across, which is also where video is fantastic, by the way. You know, you will all fall in love with you once you see yourself on video. You are just beautiful, right? Which is also why I encourage people to show up on video, because once they watch it back, they say, oh my God, that is me. I had no idea, right? The more you do this, the more you can help. And the more you can help, the better the world becomes. And there is no other way. It just isn't, you know, and sometimes it means biting the bullet. I can tell you, I've made some commitments in my life when I first started this, and that was years ago, that was so damn scary for me that I went into my hotel room and got insanely drunk, right? It was nuts. It was really, really crazy. And that was the first year when I really had a breakthrough. And I had a massive breakthrough. And after that breakthrough, I knew I can do it. There was no going back and getting up there. Oh my, I was so hungover for the rest of the conference. I don't even know what I said. I just took the workloads and never read that at home, you know, but I'd made a decision that was a big deal. And then I had the job to do to make that decision the best it could possibly be. I had said, if I have help, I'm going to be able to do this, right? Now I had the help. What am I going to do? Did I lie or was I not lying? As one or the other way? And that's how that was, right? Every time I did this, it was scary as crap, right? I have sleepless nights before I do things. I tell you, you know, this week I didn't sleep much. This is hard for me. What's not hard for me is doing EFT. What's very hard for me is putting all this stuff up, right? Right? But what other options do we have? And what's the result of that? I met all you, right? And I met a bunch of other people too. And something will happen that wouldn't happen otherwise, right? And that's just how that goes. You know that if you guys decide to join Selena's program, I'm just going to talk about this for a minute. Actually, use my affiliate link. Okay. Yes, I get a commission, but I also give a huge bonus because I want us to stay connected. I want the people that sign up with me stay connected for a while through the program. so that I can actually help you. You guys you can see this is they have the most beautiful, fun, upbeat, happy energy. They party all the time. There's presents and gifts. And, I got gift certificate. I just got another gift certificate. These people are so generous, right? There's so much happening there. And we also need this. I believe we EFTers have, we have this thing also where we just say, let's just talk amongst each other for a little bit, right? I want to do all that for you, but that requires my link, and the link is the thing that I'm sending out. So Barb, the thing that you send out, that's great, but it doesn't have the /Ingrid Dinter in the end. If you happen to find out that you signed up through somebody else's link and you do want to join my group, you can call them, right? I think within the first week or 10 days or whatever, you can just say, hey, can you switch me to Ingrid, right? I can't do that. But I can tell you that if that happened, that's fine. But if you want to be with my folks, that's what we do. Their program, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this, but it's not expensive. You will be shocked, right? I'm used to $25,000 programs. That's what I used to pay, right? I'm used to also charging at that level. It's what good program. This program is dirt cheap, right? You can afford this. You can either break it down, or if you do a full payment, which I did, I had this, right? And you can afford it. It's not gonna break your bank. It's not gonna not allow you to send your kids to college or feed your dog. And it's 1 year. And if you ever, when you go through the challenge, you meet Linnea. And I have never seen Linnea not smile and tell you something that I've never heard before. This woman is so genius. She's an editor and she is a publicist and a writer. She knows everything there is to know. And you can ask her, right? That's the kind of support you need that I can't give you. I can't edit your stuff. I can't tell you if this is the best outlet. I don't know who the editor is, but these people do, right? So I'm just really want to share this with you because it would be really cool if by the end of next year, EFT had a new face in the world. Right? And that face only shows up when we show up. So bring your friends, tell them I'm here. If you have any questions along the lines, do the challenge. There's also a masterclass coming up after that. They do a lot of free stuff for you, and then make your decision what's right. If you have any questions whatsoever, you know how to reach me, and we'll stay in contact and we'll take it from there. This is not fair. Yeah. Cool. I could imagine that we're going to be the new phase of EFT, not the new phase, none of us is new, but different, a different energy, a different spark in it. And I hope you see that I have a little bit to support you with as well, because there's stuff we can just wipe out of our heads and just say, damn. Move on. Okay, so I love you guys. I'm accessible to you, and we just take it from there. And any questions, any things you have, let me know, and we'll figure out from there. Yeah, how do you send the little hearts? I don't even know. I should know, but I don't.
It's under the reaction button.
Oh, let me see the reaction button. Yeah, there we go. There we go. See, isn't that sweet? So we talk soon. I will actually send out an email that just shows you what the program does. I don't know that anybody else who is doing Selena's, who's talking about what she's doing or promoting or has done what I've done, right? Which means really just getting a group together that's already supportive for each other. Most people just say go to her and that's that. I don't believe in that. I think you need your peeps by your side. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. So that's that. Any other final things? I hope you took some notes, and yeah, let's just do a little group bye-bye before we're done. How about that? So open mics or so.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very nice meeting you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
I'm meeting everybody else as well. It's brilliant.
Kelly, you already showed up. There were 2 people in our program that have showed up, that have published stuff already. It's like, oh my God, I mean, seriously. Talk about this if you want.
Yeah, tell me, please.
Yeah, Kelly.
Well, me?
Yeah.
So after the first meeting I think we did with Ingrid, I had to watch it on the recording. I just went straight out and I changed my website and I changed other media and other things, not media, my own stuff. And then I had a spark last week about something I'm really passionate about with my son. And I was like, right, that's it. I'm annoyed about this. I'm going to make a Facebook group. Other parents need support for the same thing. So I did that. And then yesterday was amazing. I just happened to sit down and tell somebody on my right about this Facebook group. And this lady on my left was like, oh, but that's like my story. And she started to tell me everything. And it was identical. And she was so grateful that she cried. And then at the end, she's like, I need to hug you goodbye. I can't believe I met you today. It was perfect. And I was just like, what? Okay. So yeah, it was amazing.
So
This movie got all
that's-
flustered.
thank you for saying that. You know, I just try to.
So grateful.
That's what you do. That's why you do this work, right? Not to sit there and have your big party horn and push everybody, elbow them to the side and say, me, take me. But because when you show up at the right time, people are so glad you did, right? And they need you, specifically you. I will send you guys also an interview that I actually did with Selena. I was one of the few people that she took a little time with. And I also had a, let her guard down a little bit because she comes across as very perfectionist. I think you've seen that, right? All the colors and all the gorgeousness and the professional photographs. And I've known her for a long, long time. And I tell that story in the beginning when I sent that video out later today. Because I saw her cry, and I saw her in one of our programs that we did together. She was just, this is so intimidating. And I just thought, Selena, wait a minute. You are picture perfect, smart, intelligent, and implementing. This cannot. And I feel this way. That's everybody understands that. But you, and she is just like, she didn't speak because she didn't like to speak, not because she got it all and she didn't have anything, and sometimes we perceive people as being so different because of our own preconceived notions, whatever, right? Our own perceptions. And once you look behind that, the more you get out there, the more people you will get to know that everybody knows, and you get to know them in the bar, or you get to know them in a vulnerable moment, and you say, we're all really just trying to do something with our lives, right? And do something right. And so often we don't know how that works and fail too, right? And that's encouraging. So I'm proud of you. I'm going to shut up now. I love you. I see you all later, one way or another, and stay in contact, okay? All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.